Here's another one of those good old story poems. This one by Bruce Kiskadden. Great old poem that I've always really enjoyed. It's called An Old Western Town. An old western town lay asleep in the sun of a long summer's day that was then almost done. The shadows were long and the hosses stood around, sort of resting one leg with their heads hanging down. Two cowpunchers down at the Last Chance Saloon, well, they was trying to sing, but they was both out of tune. And at the end of the street that was dusty and narrow, a scratching the dirt with some chickens and sparrows, dogs slept in the shade, and the people they strolled like they felt plumb contented in body and soul. And if you looked just a little ways off to the west, you could see the high mountains with snow on their crest. The shadow of clouds drifted over the flat, and it sure made a right pretty picture at that. But then one drunken puncher decided to go, and he figured he'd ought to put on a big show. So he spurred and he hollered and he rolled his 6 gun and took out of there with his hoss on the run. But he didn't remember that his cinches was slack until after he got his old pony untracked. Well, that cow hoss, he started to buck and to bawl. He got rid of that cowpuncher saddle and all, and before the drunk waddy got clear of the wreck, he got bit by 2 dogs, which he didn't expect. Well, his hoss bucked into a long hitching rack where a team that was hitched to a wagon reared back. Well, they let out dragging that old rattle trap, swinging the broke ends of 2 hitching straps, and a whole lot of people come from everywhere. The sparrows and chickens, they took to the air. The kids run for cover, and the women all screamed, and the dogs was a chasing that runaway team, and then some feller come out like some man always did, a yelling and hollering and waving his lid. And when the hosses got close, well, the man lost his nerve. He got out the way, but he made the team swerve. Well, they tore down the porch post in front of the store, busted the window, and several things more. They was off of their feet when at last they got stopped, piled up in a heap with the wagon on top. They was fast in the harness, one hoss nearly strangled. But the folks went to work and they got 'em untangled. And just when they started to take 'em away, well, the storekeeper come out. He had plenty to say. See, his place had been wrecked, and what made it worse still was the man with the team owed the storeman a bill. Well, he allowed he's going to take it right out of his hide. He sure wasn't bluffing 'cause he got in and tried. But most of the citizens present there reckoned that storekeeper, he come off a mighty poor second. And then the town marshal come with his badge and his gun just in time for a drink when the whole thing was done. Well, the sun started down, and a few golden streaks from the afterglow showed on the bright snowy peaks. The kerosene lamps, they shed a soft yellow light where the town folks was cooking their supper that night. It is a real western night. No fog, no haze. The stars hung in clusters so bright that they blazed, and the neighbors started to gather to visit and talk. You could hear the slow footsteps along the boardwalk, and a soft, gentle breeze started up from the west. One after another, the lights went to rest as the curtain of night settled quietly down on that best of all places, an old western town. That's another one of them good old story poems. Thanks to Mr. Kiskadden. Thanks a bunch, folks. God bless. Adios.